Kicking It with the Coach K podcast. I am your host, Coach K, Coach Kennedy, Erie Mason Football, Coach K Training. That's where you can find me. This show today is brought to you by Brain Jerk Entertainment and Kennedy Health and Wellness. Brain Jerk Entertainment, the leader in this community and surrounding in basically anything when it comes to events, podcasts. Obviously, we're here on the Brain Jerk Podcast Network. Shout out to these guys for making this happen. They do everything. Fundraisers. There's a couple game tournaments coming out. Make sure you guys get here for those. It's like Pac-Man, Risk, fun night for the kids. Get out here. Brain Jerk, shout out to you guys for doing a lot for us. Kennedy Health and Wellness is your one-stop shop for everything wellness, from body care and candles to coaching services. My wife handles all the body care and candle stuff. I handle the coaching. Whatever you need, you can check us out at kennedyhealthwellness.com. We got you covered. You can also come see us on April 22nd in Brownstown. You can come see us at I believe it's the Brownstown Event Center. I think that's what it's called. We will be donating so much of our proceeds that day to Bobby's staff. Shout out to Bobby's. And also May 13th at Maybe Days. Make sure you come see us. We'll be sitting next to Brain Jerk Entertainment. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors today because we got some great sponsors. Shout out to Amaya's Fresh Mexican Grill, The Little Brown Jug, Deb's Floral Designs, Lane's Pizzeria, IWR, Muggsy Sports Grill and Bar, Monroe Sports Center Bowling, Nerdy Designs, and our newest sponsor, All Heart Athletics. So shout out to them. Real quick, before we dive in with our guest, Donovan, we have a sports development camp coming up on May 6th and 7th. I got 3 spots left, guys. That's it, 3 spots. So if you want to get signed up, it's going fast, and that's all that's left. Make sure you go on and get signed up now. If you're looking for a little more, we have our sports performance class launching May 13th at 1817 CrossFit. Make sure you guys sign up for that. Quote of the day: are you willing to sprint when the distance is unknown? And that is by Lewis, I believe it's Corrala. He is a former strength and conditioning coach at Georgia Tech. Now I believe he's at UAB. But that's a quote that I think is deep. It's something that correlates to our guest today. You have to be willing to work in life when you can't necessarily see the end goal, the end reward, where you're going. There's a lot of times you have to be willing to just do it and just for that chance to get it. All right. So I think that's a great quote for today. Guys, we usually do a read of the week. Before we jump in with our guest, I want to actually talk about a watch of the week. All right. I don't usually do this. Usually a reading guy. We usually want to kind of push books onto people. But I went and seen a movie last night, and I think we got to talk about it real quick. I went and seen Air. So the movie about Michael Jordan and how Nike got him to sign the deal. Need you guys to go watch that. If you're a sports fan, if you're a Jordan fan, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're somebody that's just been through a lot of struggle and triumph, there's a whole lot of categories of people that should go watch this movie, flat out. It's a phenomenal movie. Again, it's about the story of how Nike and Sonny were able to kind of persuade Michael to join them and the business savvy that Michael was able to show at 18 years old. So that's a big movie. Make sure you guys watch. Donovan Johnson is our guest today. Donovan, we are excited to have you today. So real quick, man, share a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you for having me on today in this opportunity. Just a little back history. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
Live with mom and dad. Have one younger brother, one older brother. Always played football since third grade. Since third grade. And I would say the reason how I got kind of into football is through my older brother. He was, he's 4 years older than me. So whenever he would go to the park and stuff, he's playing with all older guys.
Yeah,
so
you
I had to play with older guys and stuff like that. So I
love that.
Kind of like fell in love with sports like fast at a young age.
Okay.
And ended up going to Brush High School. Had in South Euclid, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. Had a good high school career there. Went to Malone University out of high school.
Okay.
And they actually shut the program down after my freshman year.
Really?
So after my freshman year, they brung us, we were still working out 2 weeks into the next second semester. Then they called us in one morning and told us that the program was shut down. And
wow.
So we had to get re-recruited.
That's crazy.
That was a crazy moment.
Yeah, that's not something that most football players or young men or that's not something most student athletes go through, man. That's wild.
They don't.
Was it just funding?
I believe so.
Just program wasn't doing great.
Yeah, I heard they was in debt.
Okay.
A few million.
So what level football were they?
They were D2.
Okay.
Yep, D2.
So then you reopened your recruitment after that.
Reopened my recruitment. And then so whenever a program is shut down, all schools across the nation is notified about it, especially NCAA. Like they're all notified about it. So I was getting emails from coaches, DMs, text messages for like 5 days straight. So there was a lot. It was constant colleges coming through.
Is that why they do that? Do they do that so that you guys can get like attention and get recruited? Like, hey, these guys are open. Like
Right.
the program's down. They got to get to a home.
Yep.
All right.
Exactly
I mean, that's
why.
kind of a cool procedure then.
Yeah. So I mean, like we had coaches coming in every day to the gym, trying to recruit kids. They look us up on a roster or just kind of eye test us, stuff like that. Offer you an offer right there, a scholarship. Yep. And I chose Concordia because I want my parents to see me play in person. So I chose Concordia, which was 2 hours and 30 minutes away from home. Not too bad.
That's not terrible.
That's not too bad.
Not moving across the country.
Right.
Did Concordia reach out to you? Like, did you have any interest in them or know anything about them, or did they just reach out and it was like, oh wait?
So actually, Malone, we played Concordia our first game.
Wow. Okay.
So it was like, I remember when we was going over the scouting report, and it was like, yeah, we're about to play this team named Concordia up Michigan. Yeah, never heard of them.
No disrespect.
No disrespect at all.
Dirty Birds, man. I'm a big Dirty Bird guy.
Yeah.
I am. I'm a big. They know that. Coaches know that. But man, that's like, I get that.
Never even knew what NAIA was. I didn't even know what NAIA was. I only knew D1, D2, D3, and once like I had went back and reflect, I'm like, we played them first game, and they beat us, and they're an NAIA team, and they just beat a D2 team. Like, wait a minute, like. There's some competition over there. So I gave in and I ended up going to Concordia University.
Because I remember, man, like even people have, and I say this, humble to you, but like people have been excited about watching you at Concordia for a couple years now, man. Like you've been the big name in Concordia. It's been fun to come watch you play football, and you've been,
thank you.
How do I say this? Like put good, positive life and pick the program up to another place, even with the struggles last season. I mean, things happen, man.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard to be, super great every single season of your entire, wherever you're at.
That is true.
But man, that's awesome. So Coach Shu, was he the coach when you got recruited to Concordia?
Yep.
So Coach he recruited you in?
So it wasn't Coach Shu, it was Coach Coddington, the offensive coordinator.
Yep.
And
shout out to Coach Coddington and Coach Shu, because they're both good guys.
Yep. And it was also Coach Rand May, I believe his name was, but he ended up leaving once I got there.
I was gonna say I don't recognize his name off the top of my head. Yeah. All right, so what year is that when you're thinking of or when you're getting recruited to Concordia?
So that's freshman year.
Freshman year.
I'm still 18 years old.
I was gonna say this is like you didn't spend much time at Malone then.
At all. I only spent one semester there. Well, one semester and 2 weeks before it got shut down.
Now, out of curiosity, I know you said that you saw Concordia and some things drew. Was there anywhere else that you had considered?
I didn't have the grades for D1 my first semester, because it was a few that reached out and it was your GPA, but it wasn't high enough after my first semester. There were a few D2 schools, but I had visited those D2 schools out of high school, and it was like
it wasn't your fit.
Yeah, it just wasn't my fit, and I knew that. So
that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. So you get to Concordia, it's freshman year. So what? And this is kind of later down, but now that we're on here, I want to stay on this. So when you got to Concordia, like, what was your first thought, man, when you first started getting on campus and kind of playing football? Like, what was your first thought?
Man, I was like, so I ended up playing at Malone when I was there, like as a freshman. I played in a few games. So playing at Concordia, it wasn't a thing where it was like, okay, now I'm back playing again, because it wasn't like that. It was more so. I'm coming in as a transfer now. I already have a season underneath my belt at Malone. Now I'm coming in as a transfer. I know how good Concordia is, so I knew I had to come in and compete. So that was all was on my mind when I first came in. Just working.
compete.
Like I remember when my wide receiver coach one day, it was after a practice, and I was walking to the calf, and he texted me and he said, "Are you okay?" I looked at my phone like, "Am I okay?" Like, what do you mean, coach? Yeah, practice was great. I think everything else, is okay. And he just said, "You have your headphones on," and he said, like, you kind of just stay to yourself a lot, which I do.
Okay.
And so I didn't, I didn't mind that at all. I was just like, that just, just shows how like just focused into myself I was when I first got there. Like when I first got there, I definitely opened up to the team and stuff, but I was still by myself.
Did that change over time?
Absolutely.
You just kind of opened up more to the university, the team, campus, all that sort of stuff?
Absolutely.
What was your camp like? What's your outside of football? What was your experience like at Concordia? Like, what was the university, the campus life? A lot of us we talk. We love it there, man. Coach Poe and I talk about how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
So what, in your words, what was your experience like there?
My experience at Concordia was actually pretty good.
Okay.
I actually like the school. It's not bad at all. I wouldn't say like there's always a lot to do, but there's always something going on campus.
Really?
Yeah, there's always something going on. Very friendly, like friendly atmosphere.
That's good.
One thing I would say about Concordia is that if like it feels at home.
That's something common. I hear a lot of like the coaches will even say it. And every coach has coaches speak when they have like people in a room. All of us coaches have the, we're building culture here and this and that. But like every person that ever goes to Concordia seems to have that same like, do we love it here? It's at home. I hear at home very often to that place. That's the two words I always hear.
And I would say it makes you feel at home just because you're comfortable. That's why I would say the at home feeling.
Do you think it's like just kind of how nice and upkept the campus is? Do you think it's just the safety? There's always, somebody.
I would say how the people and how it's kept up.
Okay.
Yep.
It is. It's a beautiful campus. For those of you young student athletes who watch this show and you guys are thinking about where you're trying to go or, make sure you give Concordia, if they're truly looking at you and want you, make sure you give them a look because it is a beautiful campus up there. And part of the reason we had Donovan on today is because he's extremely important to the game of football and to the kids, right? And there's a reason we're going to dive into that here in a minute. But getting to your level out of Concordia is important, as we talked about before the show, for showing that you can get there.
Absolutely.
So now that you went through your time at Concordia, like what's next for you? Like, where do you see yourself going next?
So like NFL is always gonna be the dream. Like that's never gonna like stop at all. But I would just say, so when it comes to just this professional level, it's really about like who wants you in a way. So I would just say, anywhere where, I can keep playing ball and keep playing, play professionally one day and just keep going. There's some big news coming soon. So
stay tuned.
Some big
we
news
will have links at the end of the show where you can follow Donovan and links that you can follow Concordia football and those things. But you guys will be able to stay tuned to those updates. Again, we'll shout those out. Stay tuned for the end of the show, and I'll have your links on there so that way when you do and you go throw it up, people can see it, man. Because you will. We back you, and to me, you're important. Like I said, I have kids that want to go play at Concordia that are freshmen and sophomores that have dreams of going really far in football.
Right.
And we need somebody like you to push the envelope and show that that can happen.
Absolutely.
And so you're super important to us. I just want to put that out there and make sure that you understand that. To me, you're more than just a guy that came through Concordia and played football and you're doing good.
Right.
To me, you're a symbol to kids, man, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So that's the biggest reason why I had you on today. Besides, I think you're a great young man.
Thank you.
A lot of it is I need you to get your voice out there. So them guys, them younger kids, man, they know because they need to look up to you.
Thank you.
So if this is going to be a crazy question, kind of off the, let's get deep and have some fun. I'm a GM.
Yep.
All right. What is it about you? Why should I sign you? What is it about you that I should sign you over so-and-so or so-and-so? Like what it is about Donovan Johnson because you are a separator. I've seen it. So what literally physically on the field and figuratively, I've seen you separate. Like, what is it about you that separates? habits?
I would say my character and my drive. And when people say character, just it's just not all about just being a good dude. It's how I handle things, how I go about different things. I'm very detailed. I pay attention to everything I do,
Okay.
everything. So I would just definitely say like my character, work ethic. Like you would get somebody that's, oh, this is the playbook. Oh, these are the routes I have to learn. Oh, this is what I gotta do. I'm at it. Right after practice is over, I'm at it.
Already
I'm
learning.
already learning, already getting to it.
Young guys, free game. Pay attention.
Absolutely. So it's just constantly working at something. And that's what a GM like you're gonna get. You would get somebody that's constantly working to help the team get better. Because it's not about me. It's about helping the team get better. And that's what I'm out there for.
100%. And what I would say to that, man, is today that's a lost art.
Mhm.
So if you can deliver on that, boy,
Mhm.
you worth the signing because you're worth it.
Yeah.
100%. You are worth the signing because, boy,
Yeah.
they don't. It's different these days, man. We
Right.
know it is.
Yep.
It's just not the same. So
Yep.
for me, somebody that is constant, it's almost the Kobe mindset, right? We're on
Yep.
that constant. I have to get better than I
Yes.
was yesterday, or it's not good
Yes.
enough.
Um,
You know,
Speaking of Kobe Bryant, young kids out there, Kobe Bryant, Muse, the movie on YouTube. I watch it every night before I go to sleep. Every night. There's a message in there that Kobe Bryant have left. Go check that out.
what is it on
Kobe Bryant Muse. You can look it up
Muse?
on YouTube. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Go check that out. Kobe,
Yep.
shout out to Kobe, man. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
I man, he was the GOAT. The GOAT.
Yeah, he was.
I've said it on this show numerous times. I've been on record for saying it. Kobe is my GOAT. Although
Uh-huh.
Air was a great movie last night, don't get me wrong. But Kobe's the GOAT to me.
Uh-huh.
So let's talk real quick about that last season.
Mhm.
So last year was a little bit different for Concordia
It was.
than what we're typically used to. And
Yes.
like I said before the show, you can't always, sadly, even the best programs have they stub their toes at times.
Absolutely.
Because it takes such a formula
Mhm.
to be successful at the highest level of this game.
It does.
And it could be like one thing. I mean, we've watched football teams that have
Yep.
great defensive line,
Yep.
shutdown corner,
Yep.
great quarterback, but the O line is tough. And then the whole
Yep.
season they lose, they'll go 8-4
Yep.
instead of 11-1 because
Right.
so it's really hard to get everything formulated the right way. So when you're going through a season like last season,
Mhm.
how did you like mentally, how did you stay checked in and how did you stay kind of motivated, keeping up through the
That's
struggles?
a very good question. I had a teacher, so I was a captain last year, and I had a teacher. Her name is Professor Klein, and she was my sports. So I graduated with sports entertainment business, and she
Okay.
was like the head of that, almost like that major. So one day, we was going through that rough time, and she pulled me, aside just after class, and she said one thing, Donovan. She said everyone's going to be paying attention to your character. And she said, how are you going to go about this season? Are you going to hang your head? Are you going to point fingers? Or are you going to come in every day and you're going to work regardless of what's going on? And ever since she had said that right there it was just like
It clicked.
it just clicked. It's like, okay, we did just lose to a team that we know we shouldn't have never lost to, but that's not about to stop me from running this route hard.
Yep.
Or I'm dragging to meetings now because we're losing.
There's a life lesson in that. People will like let one mistake or one event just unravel in life, man, to where it becomes now they're so defeated in so
Yep.
many ways because instead of fighting back,
Yep.
they just decided, or instead of just continuing to go and just do the process,
Yep.
because with it, no matter what happens, you are going to learn.
Right.
Whether you won every game or lost. And
Right.
honestly, I hate to say it like this because I hope y'all win every game. I love
Mhm.
Concordia.
Mhm.
But you probably learn more from losing because we always do.
Absolutely.
We always actually get more from losing. But that's a great answer.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important when our young kids, high school football especially is like,
Yeah.
man, you could have a great season and then it
Right.
could be like 3-6 the next year.
Yep.
And it's crazy because you might graduate 10 seniors.
Exactly.
That type of stuff. So
Yep.
I think that's important for the young guys just to know, like, no matter what's going on, stay checked in.
Absolutely.
You think I think they'll get it back this year though.
Oh yeah.
I think Concordia, me and Poe talking. Poe's coming on next week. Shout
Yeah.
out to Coach Poe.
Coach
But
Poe. Yeah.
I think they'll get it back.
From what I've seen, I'm not gonna, tell no business.
Yeah, you don't gotta say
from
too
what I
much.
didn't see. Yeah, they revenge tours.
You
What I've
see,
heard.
hey man, you see
Revenge
the big game on the schedule, right? I don't
Yeah,
know what you're gonna be doing, but I hope you're in town. The Wayne State and Concordia game.
absolutely. I have to be there.
I hope so, man. Let me know because I'm gonna be there that day.
Okay.
That's gonna be a fun one. Hey, go to that game. That's gonna be a blast.
Yes, it will.
But I believe they'll have a good. I do believe they'll have a good season.
Absolutely.
So, one of these we already kind of went through. You said third grade was the moment when you were in third grade. You
when
said
I was
was
at,
the moment?
so I tried to play in second grade. I tried to play flag football. My mom said no.
Okay.
And then I was like the next day I went to my brother's practice. Now he was already practicing in helmets, shoulder pads, and stuff. So I'm like, Mom, I want to play. She, no, he can't play. I'm like, so I had to wait a whole another year.
Really got it from your brother.
Absolutely.
Was your brother pretty good?
Oh,
don't hate him don't hate on him like that.
It's funny. I was actually talking to him yesterday on the phone, and he said, what did he say? At that time, for me to be 4 years younger, our talents were the same. That's what we.
And you were 4 years younger,
and I was 4 years younger. That's what we came to agreement of.
Okay, okay.
That's what we came.
So either you're really good, but you might be really good.
Yeah.
Maybe I hate to say this. I always say this though, but it's true. There's a lot of like average high school football players. It just is what it is. That's why only what is it like 1 to 3% of guys go to college,
right?
And then 1 to 3% on that because it's really hard. Like you have to be really good, and a lot of kids, unfortunately, are they're average, and then a lot of kids don't work hard enough to become better than average. They just work to that average level, so they never actually break through the ceiling like they could. Which take that game, start working hard because that takes average to another level.
Oh, can I say something?
Yeah, say whatever you want.
To elaborate on that. Shout out to Markel, Tony, my brother. When our sophomore year, we was in high school and we lost that last game. Our head coach, Coach Jeff Fink, he walked up to me and Markel, and he said, "Y'all need to get it together." And he said, "Because we need you guys next year." That next day, it was 20 degrees outside, but me and Markel was at the field.
I love that.
And just ever since that day, life and football took a whole 180.
Guys, he's not just saying it. It's legit. I promise. Because he's not banging on NFL doors and different leagues and about to push football to the next level just by being average. You can't do what everybody else does. So going out in 20 degrees, like I just think it's important because I think people read that stuff in books a lot. Oh, Jordan did this, or Donovan Johnson did that, or this and that. They read it, but I'm like, do you guys really understand that? Like these guys really did it. They went out there and really did that.
Because I'm gonna tell you just a mindset that a lot of people don't look at. We are from Cleveland, Ohio. It's cold all the time. It's cold. It's cold in the winter.
Very cold.
We used to think about those people, those kids that live in Texas, that live in California. They got 24-hour weather.
To do whatever outside.
So when we was back home in Cleveland, we had to think we got 24-hour weather, no matter what it is.
That's crazy.
No matter what it is, you got to think the same way.
That's crazy above level thinking, though.
Yep, because somebody is somewhere else getting better.
Yes. Because kids are here thinking, well, a lot of kids here will think, well, man, it's snowing outside.
Yep. I'm gonna stay inside.
The gym's, a long way away. I gotta scrape the car off.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'll just. And then what they tell themselves is, I'm gonna just do some push-ups here today. And then they don't do no push-ups, or they do 35 push-ups.
Exactly. and that's not doing anything.
And that's not really doing anything at all.
Yep.
But no, that right there, that might be the gem of the show today. Because that was big, man,
Absolutely.
To put yourself in the mindset of somebody that's playing in Texas, Cali, Florida, South Carolina, Georgia, and know, like, if you want to get recruited to play football, man, you got to go against them guys who get to do that.
Exactly.
So to me, that's huge, guys, because obviously a lot of our listeners are going to be Midwest. A lot of it, for the most part, will be Midwest people, Michigan. Right. So you guys, who cares about the weather? How bad do you want it?
Absolutely.
Right? I always say this too. This is my philosophy is, and I had a coach from Texas. He actually coached in I think his name is James Van. He coached in the Friday Night Lights district. So, we're all them teams from Friday Night Lights, the movie, we're all them. Yeah. He coached there, but he said he made his team sign a deal, and they had to write what their goal was. And if their goal didn't match to their work ethic, he would go to him and be like, look, man, you signed a contract. So either your work ethic needs to change or your goal was way too big.
Absolutely.
And he makes them either change their goal or change their work ethic.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times kids don't want to change the goal.
Right.
So they end up going, damn, I'll work harder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I thought it was good. I thought it was. So real quick, this was another question. You shared Kobe, shared your brother. Who else were you motivated by growing up? Like, who influenced you?
I would say my dad.
Big time answer.
And it wasn't even necessarily he motivated me like in a football type of way or sports type of way. I mean, yeah, we played Madden together growing up, but it was
I love it though.
It was more so just growing up, just, becoming a man, watching
definitely.
it's just he just dropped so many jewels growing up that when he said it back then, I didn't think was ever going to happen.
Everything.
But it's like now where I'm at right now, it's just like he didn't tell not one lie.
Yeah.
So it was really just listening to what my dad had to say growing up. And still I'm 23 years old and he still is on me as if I was 9 years old or something. But
that's awesome.
And
that means dad cares.
Absolutely, he
100%.
does.
That's the dad. That's dad's role. And people can say whatever they want to me about, I know things work different nowadays in certain aspects, but to me, it's like mom is supposed to be there to say, hug you and say good job. And maybe she gets on you from time to time, like mom was supposed to do.
Yeah.
But dad's the one who's supposed to keep you in line and let you know, like, hey, man, this is how it's supposed to be done. And I feel the same, and so just to be clear, like I feel the same with like with a girl and their mother. Like to me, it's like, dad's supposed to be there to be, sometimes be disciplined, but most of the time be like, hug. Like I got a little girl, man, and my wife disciplines her more than I do.
Right.
But if we had a son, I know it'd be a little different. I'm gonna teach him type of deal. But yeah, man, that's awesome though. I actually love that answer. So how do you gauge success? Like what is your idea of the highest form of success for you? What does that look like?
It is playing football at the highest level possible for as long as possible. So I have, experience at that. Then I want to one day open up my own gym and get straight into coach, like training kids, you could say. So there's a gym, shout out Traction AP in Indiana. There was I went there about 2 years ago with my former quarterback Peter Morrison, and I stayed there for a week, and they had a indoor turf with the weight room right on the side of it. And Dre Mohammed, the trainer, was just doing one-on-one training with kids and stuff like that. And I fell in love with it. And, I kind of seen it. I'm just like, wow, like maybe not so much just a coach just yet when I'm finished, but probably like that first. Then I'll get into like coaching, like on a high school level or like college level or something like that.
After you play?
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
That's awesome.
I definitely do see myself doing that
You're
down the line.
Real football guy, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like real football guy.
Because I know the impact coaches can have on kids.
Yeah.
I know it.
100%.
I know it for a fact.
100%. This coming up year, I think will be my 8th year coaching high school football. I believe it'll be 8th. But yeah, man, it's a blast, honestly. And it's not just a blast, but it's so rewarding, and it's a grind, like it is. But I wouldn't trade it for the world, man.
Absolutely.
But I love hearing that because good people that came up through the sport, like we need. And obviously, you got a long way to play, but we need coaches like you in the future and down the road. And I think it's awesome that somebody wants to stay in football like that and just stay with the student athletes.
Because it changed my life. So I can't leave it if it's changing my life.
Man, football. Just everything that comes with it.
Absolutely.
I love that, man. I love that. How am I going to say this without sounding like a bit of an asshole? So I think football to me, there's certain things in football that you can't get from other sports. And it's just my opinion.
That's true.
And to me, that it offers more than any sport can offer. That's just, some people are going to say, no, coach, baseball's the best. I get it. They're going to come at me. But to me, I'm like, I've been around basketball. I've been around football. I've been around baseball. Now I've been around volleyball. I would actually argue that football and volleyball to me are actually the two sports that teach you more than anything. I think after being around different sports, those two to me were so just relatable to life, man. Relatable to teamwork, volleyball, and that's such. Basketball is a little different, right? You can. Yeah, and guys, I watched the dude score 81 in a game.
Yeah,
and literally like they wasn't going to win that game after one dude scored 81.
Yeah,
like it is a team sport, but individuals can take games over in certain things. Baseball, a pitcher can throw a no-hitter and you're going to win.
Exactly.
Or a guy can hit 3 home runs and you're likely going to win. In football, it's different,
you
man.
Need all
it's
11
different.
people.
It's just different level of like commitment, teamwork, dedication. I'm an entrepreneur myself. I run 3 or 4 businesses. I actually do sports training myself.
Hey.
But actually shout out to Overtime Athletes. Got to take a second. Down in St. Petersburg, Florida. We're the first Midwest, the first coach up here to offer it in the Midwest. But yeah, we do a little bit too, man. But that the game teaches you so much about entrepreneurship, family, just everything, man. And like and hearing your story today, I know you feel the same. It offers you a type of experience and atmosphere on people that you cannot get anywhere else.
And I don't think so. I think
even when you go to the next level, I think it may not be maybe as tight as in high school.
Right.
But I still think there's so much level of like, we know we got to come together at least for the common goal.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are trying to earn contracts. And if they're not trying to earn a contract, they're trying to earn a raise.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they all want to flow and move.
Yep.
Let's talk about the process, man. What has this draft, like, what's this process trying to get drafted? Like, what goes into this? What are you trying to do? I mean, are you doing, just explain to us a little bit. Kids definitely would love to hear this.
Okay. It takes a lot, especially coming from a small school, because that's something you're going to be told by coaches. That was something I was told by a USFL coach is, coming from a small school, yes, it's going to be harder, but they're going to pay attention to a lot more now. And I've been invited to Podium Bowl down in Miami. I went there back in January. I was invited to a USFL private workout in San Diego on my birthday, February 19th. And I just had my pro day at Youngstown about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, nice.
But this process, man, is serious. One thing that a coach told us down at the Podium Bowl is you really have to eat like, think like, train like a pro. Like everything you do, you have to think professional.
It's different.
It's different. There's no more, you're in college anymore. You're a grown professional man.
And they're all that way. You might be a grown professional man, but you got teammates that aren't, you got competitors that aren't. All these guys are grown. And like we just said, they're all trying to eat.
Exactly.
Everybody's trying to get a plate.
Even the coaches. How like
them guys trying to get jobs too.
Absolutely.
100%.
And I think that's something that's going to be different that I think a lot of people need to hear, because you know how every coaching staff, you always had that coach you can go joke with and all that type stuff.
Yep.
All the coaches that I have met throughout this process, there is none of that. They're serious.
See, and a lot of college coaches can be like that. But like you said, there's always, though, even in college, there's always them couple coaches, man. Even, shout out to our guy, Poe, man. I love you, Poe, but you know damn well you one of them coaches we can come kick it with. Poe is definitely one of them guys.
Exactly.
Man. But yeah, that's interesting. So it's been all cutthroat coaches.
It's cutthroat scouts, cutthroat coaches. Like they're straightforward and they know what they want and what they're looking for.
Because to be honest, and this is no disrespect to you, they don't care.
They don't.
They want damn best and numbers, and they want results, and that's it. They don't give a crap about none of that stuff. Whereas college coaches, yes, they want to win. Yes, that's all. But college coaches still, to a degree, will still establish relationships.
Right.
Pro is where it really starts to be like a business friendship type
they're
of
investing
deal,
in you.
100%.
And that's why I say character. As I mentioned before, character is a big thing, because character is one of the things that they really pay attention to a lot. They pay attention to character.
You think that's because there's just so many good football players, so they have to separate people somehow?
I think that also, you just never know what you can get.
They don't want to deal with, they don't want to waste money and time.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of it, right?
Yep.
I don't want to sign somebody and then, you have a track record of doing this or drinking or whatever. And then it's like, man, I lost out on you because you went out and got busted for that. Like,
that stuff matters.
It does, man. You look at like, and I hate to bring him up, but you look at like the Raiders with like Henry Ruggs and like the stuff that's going on at Georgia right now. Like that stuff sucks, man. I hate it because I never want to see somebody ruin their life, man, or their career. But it's like that stuff does matter and it does happen.
It does.
And sometimes like people always think it's like coming from a bad background or something. I'm like, man, sometimes that's money.
Exactly.
Money just gets in a hand and somebody has never had money before.
Yep.
And then it's like, I don't know how to handle this money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you go do whatever, or you do things that you normally don't do, and it winds up getting you in trouble.
So when we're talking about your process right now, you've been doing some podcasts, I know, and some different things. I've seen you doing with Coach Roscoe.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Shout out Coach Roscoe.
But yeah, he's a good dude, man.
Yeah.
Actually, first time I came up to Concordia, long story short, but I didn't even know where I was going, man. I came up for a spring practice. This was like 4 years ago. I came up. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. This dude walked me around the whole facility, talked to me for like an hour, man. I'm not even with my team. I'm just kicking it with Coach Roscoe. Like,
that's
I appreciate you sharing all the stories with me.
That's Coach Roscoe.
Walk around the whole facility. I'm like, I got in the stands. I'm like, hey, y'all know it's really nice around here, man. Coach Roscoe just took me around.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's cool around here. But he's a good dude, man.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to like the process, you say you might have some big things coming. So is this like a waiting game at this point? Do you have any more training days that you do type of thing?
I was invited to it's a CFL combine up in Rochester, New York, April 22nd.
Okay, it's coming up.
Yep. So that one is coming up. I've been talking with my coach back home to kind of see like where we're gonna go from there.
Okay. So you're just trying to maybe look at all different options.
Absolutely. It's the same thing with like going D1. You know, people may say D1 or bust, or
that's not it though.
NFL or bust.
Yeah, that's not it.
It's not the
I don't think people realize how many players that they go look on NFL rosters that were like either formerly in the XFL, CFL, D2, D3. Yes. I'm like, you guys don't realize, but like, actually a lot of them players from them big schools, a lot of them don't pan out. I hate to say it like that, but like, man, half of the quarterbacks that you look at in NFL rosters will be from like some crazy small school that you're like
I never even heard of him.
Right. What?
Yep.
Steve McNair was my favorite quarterback ever from the Titans, right? He went to Alcorn State.
Right.
Like anybody heard of that before him? Like, you know, it's crazy, but but again, you show that it can be done.
Absolutely.
So do you kind of wait? Like out of curiosity, when it comes to waiting, I guess my question is, do you like kind of wait till you hear about the NFL on draft?
Basically you do
before you sign anything, and then you go look on after the NFL draft.
Yep. So how it goes is before the NFL draft, maybe a few indoor leagues, arena leagues may get at you, try to like give you an offer. It's up to you whether you take that or not. Then you can just maybe not take that and then just pursue for the NFL. And then that's what the pro days are for. So then you have your pro days and stuff, because you're basically saying, now I want to go to the NFL. Or
100%.
Or like it can be CFL, because there was a CFL scout at Youngstown State.
And they'd send coaches to come watch them.
Yep.
Scouts.
Yeah. So after the NFL draft is over, if you don't hear anything in like 2 weeks afterwards, then that's when they kind of tell you like overseas.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Or you can wait around, because then the CFL, they kind of see who the NFL is picking up and who they're not picking up.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then they go from there. And then say if you don't hear from either one of those, then that's just like overseas. Okay. That'll be like the next resort. But now that we have leagues like the USFL, XFL now, now they hold camps in the summer.
Those leagues do?
Yep, they hold camps and stuff like that. So if you go to those camps and you perform very well, then you get invited, or like you'll get like emails and stuff where it say like your name have been submitted into a draft pool, stuff like that. So it's a tricky process, but it's like you got to kind of just go in with a plan.
It's literally like you're just trying to feel out the board and see what's going on, see who's moving where and what's. That's a crazy process, man.
Absolutely.
A lot going on at once.
It can be nerve-wracking. It can, because like you said, you're playing the waiting game in a way.
How you handling it? How do you handle the emotion?
I don't think about it.
You just keep going.
I just keep working.
Man,
working out.
I can't lie, bro. I love your attitude. I really do. I
Thank you.
appreciate your attitude. Genuinely appreciate it for everybody that's listening too,
Thank
because
you.
that's, and I hope they just kind of peep the game out of this and realize,
Absolutely.
like, no matter what, I'm just going.
Absolutely.
And that's to me, that's awesome, man.
Absolutely.
So we got a few questions here.
Mhm.
This is something I always try to ask to somebody that's either going to college or in college. We actually had a guy on, a student athlete on. He's going to be playing two guard and point guard at Concordia.
Nice.
He went to Monroe High School here. I
Okay.
actually trained him. Good kid.
Nice.
But I had to ask him and the baseball player. I got to ask you,
Mhm.
if you had one piece of advice for a student athlete trying to make it to where you are, what would it be?
Never doubt yourself, because there's going to be people that's going to doubt you and not think that you're going to be able to make it. But I think oftentimes a lot of people can get caught up, or I know they've heard that before, believe in yourself, believe in yourself. But that's what you really have to do. You have to believe in yourself, because at the end of the day, you're going to have people that's going to help you. You're going to have mentors, you're going to have your parents, you're going to have teammates. So you're going to have people that's going to help you. But at the end of the day, going through this process, you're going through it by yourself. So you have to believe in yourself and just keep working hard.
I love
Just
that.
keep working hard.
No, I love that consistency. I love it, man. I
Absolutely.
love it because, and Coach Bates came on. He coaches semi-pro football here and
Mhm.
JV football in Toledo, but he came on about a month ago,
Mhm.
and I asked him, like, what was his hardest challenge coaching young men today, and he said getting them to believe in themselves.
Yep.
That was his answer.
Yep.
So that was awesome to me. That the advice was kind of like, we're noticing the same things with, like, if
Yeah.
you're on this path,
Yeah.
you can't let the outside noise
You
get to you.
can't,
You gotta go.
because
You have to.
it's going to come from so many different
Did you hear it both ways?
angles. I've heard it. Okay, I've heard it a lot in the good ways though. The bad ways, I may hear it like I can count on like a number of hands. Like
That's
the
good.
bad I've heard. Like
That's
I
good.
know one person that went from Concordia. I remember he had said something, and then just somebody like 2 weeks ago. But he's
You'll have somebody who just don't like you because you're a good football player.
Yeah, some
And then they'll go, oh, he ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
Just because you're a good football player.
Yeah, and that
You have
happens.
them people.
Absolutely.
Definitely. But that's awesome though, man. Because I think the reason that is though is you're a genuine dude. Like, even just eating with you out there Easter dinner and
Right.
just talking to you and being in here, like, you're a genuine guy, man. And I think
Thank
when
you.
you're genuine and you work really hard,
Mhm.
it's hard for people to hate that. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? It's hard
Right.
for people to, like, see negative in that.
Right.
So I think that's a lot of it.
Absolutely.
We got a few more questions. When I just want to know something, because we do sports training. We
Mhm.
talk about it a lot. It's big with us.
Mhm.
Right now,
Mhm.
what does your diet, training schedule, and kind of your recovery look like? Like,
Oh,
what are you
man.
eating? What are you working out?
Let's do it. Okay. So, do you want me to tell you like the pro day regimen, or just like before I got into pro day stuff, or
So are you, like, right now, are you eating a certain way to get ready for the draft? Or to get ready for whatever you're getting your next step?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So and I'm also working out quite a bit now. So now that pro day training is over, now it's back to well, I'm gonna explain pro day training just a little bit. Pro day with training was, getting up, have your first meal, and then pro day training was from 11 to 1. And then coach would just say like you just have like the rest of the day off. And then I would just eat and just stretch like the rest of the day.
Okay.
So because with pro day training, that training that you get that one day, you're giving it your all.
Yeah, that's
So
a
it's
lot.
like, it's not like I can do a workout, go home, recover, and then go do another workout. It's
Yeah.
like that's the only workout for the day.
Because it should burn you out. It should be the
Absolutely.
absolute, like,
Hardest
pro
thing to be
day, man.
doing.
You should feel dead when you leave.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm done. I killed it. Left everything on the field.
Absolutely. So that was that for pro day training. Now I'm back to getting up every morning at the gym at 7 in the morning, coming home, eating, sleep, rest, go back to the gym around like 3-ish, 4-ish, come back home, eat, relax. And I'm the type of guy I like to go to the field at night. Surprisingly, I like to go to the field at night.
Okay.
So
Little night owl. All
yeah,
right, man.
and then I go to the field again at
time.
like 8-9 o'clock. Absolutely.
It's quiet time.
It is. A lot of people always say, why do you go to the field at night, or it's dark, or this, that, and the third? Well,
why.
As a absolutely, like as a receiver, the only thing that I'm missing out on is just catching the ball. I can go get catches. I can go do that tomorrow in the morning.
100%.
I'm just getting my my feet together. My ladders, my cones, my routes, all that. Just done. I just do it.
Details.
I do it at nighttime. I like to train at night. Honestly,
I like that though. That's like I'm typically like an early morning or late at night person myself when it comes to the gym. I cannot go in the middle of the day. Right. I hate it, man. It's crowded. It's people in there. Yep. I like quiet. I like to be in the zone away. I like to not. And this sounds selfish, but I get pissed if I go to a gym and you're on the machine I'm trying to use. I'll be real.
That's
true. I ain't trying to go bench and all the benches are full.
That's so true.
Like, now I can't bench because y'all are on them. Like,
I gotta go act like I was looking for something else.
No, I'm like, now I'm looking around like, what
am I gonna do now? Yeah.
And I'm very like strict in my routine when I work out. So I'm like, I gotta do this shit in order that I'm trying to do it and not break from it. I love it though, because I want young people, that's a big thing we preach to them. Yeah, is you got to eat right, you got to sleep right.
Yes,
you got to do things that take care of yourself outside of training.
Yep.
We had a guy, his name is Bronco McCart, world heavyweight or world champion boxer. He came on and he said that the most important thing that he always kind of preached and talked about was what he did in the hours outside of training, not the hours in training.
Yep.
He said, I'm going to go work when I'm in training the hardest I can because I'm there. I might as well work. Right. He said, but how am I going to take care of myself in the hours after I'm training? And he said, that's what separates athletes.
I was actually just about to tell you that.
And that's big, man.
I was going to say something about that. And it was just something that I had heard from my uncle, actually. And it's just the fact that you spend so many months preparing for just one season and to play just but 60 minutes on a football field. But you're training months and months and months before you actually play those 60 minutes of your life. So where's most of your time? It's spent off the field. Training. So what do you think helps you when you get on the field? What you do off the field?
So a lot of us high school coaches are struggling with attendance in the off-season training. This, again, I can't reiterate it enough. This is somebody who is reaching the highest level of this game, telling you have to put time in that off season. You have to invest in the times that you're not playing football. It's important, and it's important for safety reasons.
Absolutely.
So real quick, how do you think your coaches and teammates would describe you? Makes you a little self-assess, a little dig in deep down. How do you think they describe you?
What
would Coach Poe you know what? I'll be honest with you. Coach Poe, I told him you were coming on. I have a text from him. I can tell you what your coach is.
Really?
Yeah. So what do you think they say though?
Say Don, good guy.
Okay.
Team leader, team player.
Fair, you're spot on so far.
Yeah, I just, I'm all about the team, and I'm all about trying to be a leader for somebody out there on that team. And when we playing football, so they would say something along those lines. Absolutely.
So something positive about leadership.
Absolutely.
You seem like a great leader.
Absolutely.
To be honest, he said, I don't know exact words, but it's definitely right down them lines. He said you were that dude. I'll be honest. He did. He said you were a good dude. So,
thank you.
And he did say to say hello, but
okay.
But yeah, man, that's a question I always think because it makes you self-assess. Like I ask myself that. I'm like, what do my clients? What even my wife's my business partner, and we have some moments in business that are not always easy. And I'm like, how do I communicate with people that I work with? How do I work with this entertainment company? What am I doing for them to add value to them? All them different things are always going through my head, right? And always thinking about those things. So I always wonder, like, it's always a great question to self-assess.
It is.
How important is it for our kids to attend camps, spring practices like at Concordia, spring games? But again, a lot of it, importantly, them camps. How important is it for our student athletes in high school to attend those?
I think it's very important to attend those. And I say that especially camps, just so college coaches can then get to see you in person And like it's like boom, when they see you in person, you could potentially walk out of there with the offer. Or even just doing certain types of camps. And if this is a program that you want to play for, you see what this coach is like in coaching mode. You'll be able to kind of tell if do I want to be around that? Do I like the way he's coaching? All right, I'm all for it. Let's go. It's just many different things. Even at the spring ball games, when you guys go to the spring ball games and stuff like that, really just pay attention to everything. Pay attention to your position, who's all in the position, pay attention to the coach that's in the position, what's going on, how are they moving, are they jogging to where they need to go, are they on the hop? Just little different things like that is very important. Any chance that you get, if you're in high school, to go to camps, scrimmages, 7-on-7s, any of that type stuff, spring ball games, please go, because now you're going to be looking at what to expect once you're there at that level.
And I almost guarantee that almost every kid that listens to this, you have a coach somewhere on the staff that's willing to set that up for you.
Absolutely.
And college coaches, especially Concordia, is phenomenal about having guys up there, and they're super welcoming. Concordia is phenomenal. They welcome you. They'll let you on the sideline. You can talk with the coaches. You can talk with the players. Their camps are actually some of my favorite camps in this area. Just because I think there's some really good detailed coaching at your camps. Actually, I've watched receivers actually go learn how to do releases and different things other than just go run a 40 time and get like a sheet of paper that says, cool, here's your 40. Like you guys actually coach and do stuff at them camps, which I love. So, but take that as advice, young guys, and girls, because Donovan is saying it right there too. You guys have heard it from Pat Lancaster on here. Shout out to Pat, but you guys need to attend those camps. They're big. They're good at getting you noticed. They're also good, and I'm going to just chime in, at kind of showing where you're at. True. Like if you go get your butt whooped at a football camp, like, damn, I got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
A lot. I'm way behind these guys. You go measure up pretty well, okay, man, I'm working with something.
That's true.
So I think it does give you a good measuring stick. All right, so my man, we always kind of have a fun question on here. We do like one big sports headline. We like to keep things about your story and different things, but we like to cover something fun, just ESPN headline type of deal.
Yeah.
What do you think about college football today with the NIL and the transfer portal and everything? Do you think the direction it's headed is positive or negative?
I'm going to say both. And I say both. I'm gonna just start with the negative. I'm gonna say that because some kids could get money and
others don't.
Others don't.
And
it can create something that goes on at the professional level.
In the locker room.
In the locker room, yeah. Or
definitely
a kid could be getting money that's in college or something, and now that they may not want it as much. Say if a kid's dream is to go to the NFL, but you just got tossed $1 million and you're only 19 years old, you don't know how to handle it. You just never know. I say that type stuff now is, and I would say, in the transfer portal, it's just a lot of people that I always see in the transfer portal. So say if you're like a small school guy and you're going into a transfer portal, now you're competing with somebody who just came from Ohio State or Alabama or something,
Right.
But then on the positive side, though, the NIL deals and as far as like the transfer portal, I think the transfer portal is good though, because, every school that somebody may go to, you probably won't like right away. And that's okay. Things happen when you're in college and that's okay. So that is good that they have that so you can transfer and go somewhere. And as far as NIL deals, the positive in that, I would just say you're just getting an opportunity. It's just an opportunity just to make some money. I feel like
extra money.
Yeah, because in college, college people, it is tight, money wise. It is tight in college.
Struggling, man.
It is tight. Absolutely.
I know some football guys who I like. For example, to be honest with you, I know some guys who play football and wrestle up at a couple schools, and I love these guys. God bless their souls. But I know they've like asked me, like, "Hey man, I just need lunch for today." Like that's it type of deal. And I'm like, it really is. It's hard.
It is
It's really hard because y'all can't really work. You can't go to work when you're playing football and going to school 24/7.
Yeah. If I just had classes, it'd be different. But you
Right.
got practice, classes, meetings.
100%. I think it's interesting to ask you because you're a guy now who's kind of like you went through college during kind of seeing all this unravel and kind of like, whoa, this is going on in college sports everywhere. The whole transfer portal thing has been going on in every sport. And now NIL is starting. So it's great to get a perspective from somebody who just kind of has lived through the world of college athletics and now is kind of going to that next. But I think it's good. I just think we need I think everybody needs the same set of guidelines kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like I think everybody should have so much money maybe in their collective they can give out or and I do think it there are certain things that and I just put this out here for kids to know, but it's like I think before you transfer, just know that is for sure it.
Yep.
Because like I was reading today, like 25% of kids that entered the portal actually landed at a new spot. And I'm like, if that number is real, that's extremely low. If that number is real, I want to do the research to know, but I'm like, if that's real, that's rough. Wow. That's a low number.
Yeah.
And I know like with NIL, like most people's not getting bags. It's just a select few that's getting it. So I think if there was some kind of like universal way to almost like, or a scale. I don't want to say universal because Bryce Young don't deserve the same check that the third running back does.
True.
But even like some kind of scale.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or this level guy gets this much, this. I think that would be
I think that's
for the
nice
game.
too. Yeah.
That way, even guys at every level of school, I would even pay them all the way through some kind of level scale, even at NAIA to be D2. Yeah. Maybe it's a less scale than D1 because they got more money to work with. But that's just my thoughts, man. Just throwing them out there. So. Man, it's been an awesome show today. Absolutely. Donovan, I appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Promise you, man, we're going to be looking for what's next with you. We will be paying attention.
Absolutely.
I was reading a little bit about your bio, your story on Concordia's website and everything. You got a good story, man. An awesome story. I'm glad you came on and shared it with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming to Monroe today to do this live podcast. Guys, please make sure you stay up on Donovan's journey. It's inspirational. It's one that a lot of kids can learn from. A lot of people are in your shoes that you were in maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And there's a lot of kids in those shoes in our area and other areas that I think can learn a lot from what you said today. Absolutely. I want you guys to take the mindset from this today. If you take anything, take Donovan's mindset. Absolutely. It was big today. This was an awesome Easter episode. Guys, you can find Kennedy Health and Wellness on Facebook and Instagram, Coach K Training on Facebook and Instagram. You can find Brain Jerk Entertainment, again, all social media, Facebook and Instagram. Please go follow Concordia Football. They do some pretty awesome things with camps and summer stuff. That's all coming up. You can find that on Concordia's Twitter and their Instagram. I don't think they have a Facebook, but you can find it on Twitter. Donovan, where can we find you, my man?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Don_5, and it's UNO Don_5.
There you go, guys. Make sure you guys go follow Donovan and stay up on his story. We know that some big things are coming your way, my man. I believe it. God works in great ways, man, and you're a hard worker. So we know some big things are coming. We're going to be staying tuned. Thanks, my man.